Well, initially it was called Crime and Punishment, but it's been changed slightly to Interesting Crimes and Interesting Punishments. Chris?
I'm going to start off, it's kind of an international segment. I'm going to start off with a neighbor across the pond in the UK.
All right.
So there is an Irish comic. He's actually a comedy writer. He was very famous in the 90s, early 2000s in Britain and Ireland as well. And we'll get into what show he made, but he was recently on a flight from Arizona back to Britain, and he was detained at Heathrow Airport by 5 armed police officers, which is kind of, CNN says that's a rare sight in Britain, to have 5 armed police officers. We know that there not a lot of police over there carry guns. He was escorted out. He ended up having a cardiac event because of all the stress that was going on. And the reason that he was detained by these people, these officers, was because of some posts he made on X. We actually have the clip of the interaction that took place once he was escorted and taken out. Let's go with that clip.
I hear you're a racist now, Father. What? How did you get interested in that type of thing?
Who said I'm a racist?
Everyone's saying it, Father. Should we all be racist now? What's the official line the church is taking on this?
Oh, no.
Yeah, so that's a clip from Father Ted, which is actually the show that he came up with. You know, it kind of is like that. Somebody comes up to you, a police officer, you're not expecting this, you're kind of flanked by them at the airport, and they're accusing you of being a racist, or in this case, a transphobe. So the comments that he made were considered to be transphobic on social media, and specifically targeting a certain transgender individual who he was actually going to England for another case that he's involved with, because he's kind of become, they call him an anti-trans activist, but he has a lot of beliefs. He was actually suspended from X previously for saying something. I have the official quote here. It was something about, it was like, they're not guys, or something very mild on a post about transgender athletes or about a transgender person. But anyways, he's involved in this case now. And the reason why this comedy writer is involved in this case about transphobia is because it's actually illegal in the UK. And we've discussed this. I think, Cindy, you had a segment on this about what actually qualifies as a crime in the UK, posting on the internet, apparently. He's being charged with harassment, and they're also exploring whether or not he violated this act from 2023, which polices online activity. And a number of groups are against this act. Even the creators of Wikipedia are against this act because they say it kind of is too broad, and anything could be taken out of context, and you could be put in the paddy wagon, as they say over in the UK, for violating this stuff. So if he is found guilty of violating the 2023 law, he could face 5 years in prison for going up against trans individuals on social media in his basement.
Well, you're highlighting him. I guess he's like the one big case, but I've just been seeing like so many cases come across social media recently of people in the UK getting serious sentences too. Not like, I mean, I think any sentence is crazy unless you're like actually like death threatening someone. If you're just speaking online, this shouldn't be punished. But hey, that's the viewpoint of some American across the pond. Don't listen to me. But people are getting like legitimate, like 2 years.
And the public is starting to get wise.
Are they though? I've seen people go say that that's a good thing.
Okay, so I'll give you this. First, the usual suspects come out when something like this happens, like J.K. Rowling or who's another? Piers
Phillip.
Morgan, Joshua Phillip, Roman Bamakov. I mean, these people, Piers Morgan, different celebrities in the UK come out and they'll make a statement. But now in this case, you have Sir Mark Rowley, the Metropolitan Police Commissioner, actually came out with this quote: "Policing toxic culture wars debates is not what we're about. Policing has been left between a rock and a hard place by successive governments." So that now you have the police kind of saying, we don't want to be involved in this, but you're putting us in this position with these laws. So Coincidentally, Nigel Farage was actually in the US when this was happening, and he was going to testify before Congress about dangers to freedom of speech happening in the UK. So it just happened on the perfect day, and he used this, of course, as one of his examples. But this is not the only act. I mean, I researched all these different laws. They have the Communications Act of 2003, which is being used against people. They have Malicious Communications Act of 1988, the Online Safety Act of 2023, which I mentioned, and the Public Order Act of 1986. All these different laws, you're being reported, and you have to be defend yourself against multiple laws that you could have violated.
You know,
just for
I will
making a
add
political
one thing.
claim.
I think America is the only country on earth that has true free speech.
Oh,
and
we have
even
the
for
First
most
Amendment,
of
yeah.
human history, like, you know, the reason the founding fathers created freedom of speech as, like, you know, a constitutional right is because you didn't have it in most of the world. What country right now has true free speech on par with the United States? Almost none. None that I can think of, other than not to the degree as the United States. None that I can think of.
Well, it's not constitutionally protected in the
No,
way that
no,
it is.
Well, I mean, you
In the
could
way-
say, of course, every country has like some.
They all
constitution, blah, blah,
claim
blah.
it, but you know, I mean, even Australia, they're doing the same thing. Most of Europe's doing the same thing. Most Asian countries do the same thing. You know, you go even to like third world countries.
The negative
it's
case for
different.
that
It's more social. Of course.
is free speech and hate speech. That's the whole talk that's coming out here. And equating the words that you produce out of your mouth or that you type on your keyboard with violence. Because that's what all these laws are targeted against. They see the act of you saying something that other people perceive subjectively to be hateful as an act of violence or harassment.
Actually, when I was doing some reporting in you know, East Asia, Taiwan, South Korea, I learned actually some of their libel laws are really strict there too, because they regard harming somebody's reputation, even if it's true. Like in Japan, for example, it's against the law because people take saving face as being such like a detrimental issue. It's like even if you expose something true, like the people go kill themselves.
God bless the USA.
And so it's
That's
a
all I have to
crime.
say
It's
there.
a crime
And
in some
I'm glad that you mentioned Asia because I threw this one in there for Tiffany. So this is a China-related one. It's a China law. It's actually the law is in this segment was supposed to be out new laws. This is a new law. I'm going to tie into it. But in 2007, there was a measure on the management of the reincarnation of living Buddhas. This is the most ridiculous thing. It's basically China deciding if the Dalai Lama gets to be reincarnated in the appropriate person who's going to stand aligned with their values.
Well, he needs to follow the party's doctrine on how he reincarnates.
Yes.
Technically,
yes.
it's how the law works.
If a false reincarnation is found, somebody who maybe is not sympathetic to the cause of Marx and Lenin, we need to say that wasn't a correct, an atheist state needs to say that wasn't a correct reincarnation. Actually, this cadre over here in the prefecture, they're the right reincarnation. It's a ridiculous thing, but the reason why I mentioned it, he recently turned 90, and he even, in his birthday
Dalai
little
Lama.
address, the Dalai Lama, he gave a little segment in his birthday address about this law. And he basically said that my reincarnation is going to be determined by religious authorities that are tied in with my trust. He has like a whole nonprofit set up to regulate who gets to determine who his successor is based on their perception. And these are other Tibetan Buddhist officials. And he just want to make it clear that I'm getting up there in age, I'm 90 now, things could go south quickly. I mentioned this in 2025 because there was a white paper released recently by the State Council Information Office of the People's Republic of China in March. And it was titled, Human Rights in Xinjiang in the New Era. When you think about China, human rights, all ties together.
In the new era.
Yes.
Sounds so good.
And then the other thing is the Xinjiang thing. Is that how you pronounce it,
Xinjiang?
Tiffany? Xinjiang?
don't know what
That's what they're
they're
calling
reading.
Tibet now. I don't know if they just celebrated
Oh no, that's the name of the
60 years.
province. That's just
Yeah.
the name of the province. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like a political move. They don't want to use the word Tibet because that can tie into Dalai Lama's version of a greater Tibet. And they want to specify that it's this region which has always been a part of China, that they have control over. But they came out with this thing, and it literally spelled out the white paper reiteration of their belief that they should determine the successor, that says the reincarnation of living Buddhas, so they expand it beyond him, is carried out in an orderly manner based on clear rules. The central government and governments of all levels in Xinjiang fully respect the tradition of reincarnation of living Buddhas of Tibetan Buddhism. They strictly follow the measures on the management of the reincarnation of living Buddhas of Tibetan Buddhism and manage the process in accordance with the law. Imagine this. You have a religion which is thousands of years old. You have a Tibet, which is hundreds of years recognized as its own thing. I mean, then you have the CCP coming in and they're saying that our laws are the ones which determine the reincarnation of this person, which we don't even recognize as a legitimate reincarnation because we're atheists. It's ridiculous. So finally, I want to leave on an American note.
Please. What's more American than Texas?
And it's Texas, that's right. So in Texas, there is the best act in the history of humanity. It's called the Furries Act. Oof. And this is something which is trying to get passed. It's currently kind of dead in the water. Since August. It's about role play and making animal noises in school. And whether or not
this is the other extreme of freedom of speech.
Everyone knows about furries. They're these people with or without illness who claim that they are dogs and cats and lions and wolves, and they bark and they hiss and they use litter boxes and they do all those things and they have special accommodations. This would actually
schools, they have special accommodations
in the schools. This would actually say
litter
if your
boxes.
school district has a litter box, you're going to get a $10,000 fine for the first violation. If your school does it again, you're going to get a $25,000 fine, and this is going to keep going on. I have a short clip of this one. Let's see if we can play
Whether
it
you
quickly.
clean out the litter box or not.
See, this is how you
Your bill penalizes schools when students engage in barking, meowing, hissing, or other animal noises that are not in human speech. Is that correct?
That's what it says.
Can you name a school where it has been confirmed that students are using litter boxes?
Well, what we do with this bill is we prevent that from happening.
Your bill provides, includes language that prohibits students from engaging in certain types of, quote, non-human behavior, which is defined as including, quote, licking oneself or others, end quote. Is that correct?
That's correct.
If a student eats Cheetos and then licks the cheese dust off their fingers, would that be considered licking oneself?
Yeah, that's not a non-human behavior if you're licking your fingers because you got food on them. That's kind of in line with the normal behavior.
But you're defining non-human behavior as licking oneself or others.
If it's in this non-human behavior realm, the intent of the bill is for licking oneself for the grooming purposes like a cat.
So this is I found the name of the act. It's the Forbidding Unlawful Representation of Role-Playing in Education, or the Furries Act. You heard it right there. If you're licking yourself because you have Cheeto dust on your fingers, you're not in violation of the law, says this guy, but there's no actual provision in the law which says this. It's just kind of a ridiculous thing that we have so many issues going on in schools. We have school shootings, we have people attending schools and they don't even know how to read or write, and we're focused on whether they're barking in math class. It's a problem, but I don't know if it's that big of a problem.
Maybe it's connected, though. Maybe the kids aren't learning because they're.
Well, that's what they say. They say
it's
it's a distraction. If you have these people with paws
Sure
on,
it is.
and the cat's out of the bag with this one.
okay. All right, I know exactly what you're thinking. That was a great clip you just watched. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to follow and also check out either these videos or maybe they're on this side. I don't know which side they're on. But we set it up so these are the videos that YouTube is suggesting to you as the best ones that you'll probably like the most. So check them out, this side,